Trestles was a battleground well before professional surfing made its debut there 35 years ago.
In 1970, Nixon was the president, and he moved over to the Western White House over here, and the Marine Corps wanted Trestles closed off so they would start chasing people down and stuff.
To his everlasting credit, Richard Nixon determined that that was a world treasure of surfing, and by presidential decree gave it to the citizens of California.
But even after the Marines' occupation of the hallowed San Clemente Point ended, the competitive surfing landscape in California was still in disarray.
In that period, which I call the dark ages, between 72 and 77, California just went to sleep. The surfing was boring. You looked at the magazines and photos of California, it was just whiteboards and black wetsuits. Versus you took a look at the Aussies and you had all sorts of color. Up until that point in time, had always revered Surfer and Surfing magazine coming in the mail to tell us what the new direction was. But that was over.
In a world without Twitter updates, on-demand video, or even websites, information traveled slowly.
Competition was more about people getting together and sharing ideas than it was about who won the contest.
In 1977, a new dawn broke as the Sunderland Pro introduced the fledgling freeride generation to Trestles for the first contest ever held there.
When we actually got the lowers, we didn't consider any threats from any Californians.
Well, there's no doubt at that time the Southern Hemisphere crew, which was Australians and South Africans, they were so far ahead it wasn't even funny. I mean, we weren't even in the same universe.
Their modern lines and aggressive approaches stunned the Californians, most of whom were still tripping.
When we arrived at lowers, it inspired the next younger guys that were hanging around down there. The guys started to, look like they wanted to have a story, wanted to have an act. They didn't want to hide in the bushes anymore.
5 years later, at the Stubbies Pro Trials, California's long-awaited answer to the Australian dominance emerged in Tom Curran. He won his pro debut at lowers.
It was the first time we saw Tom Curran, and he caught a wave, and both Ian and I went, oh my God, that guy's the real deal.
He embodied all of the California soul. It was just a beautiful thing, and as soon as he started winning, we just went, yes, we've got one of our own.
He brought pro surfing back to America.
Curran's championships began to tip the balance of power because back in California, a new brand of acrobatic surfing was being pushed at lowers, which had become ground zero in an explosion of high-performance surfing. When Kelly Slater won his pro debut at lowers in 1990, Trestles' performances became the measuring stick for all future generations.
Kelly Slater!
Today, lowers is host to national amateur titles, world championship races, and prime-rated events like the Nike Lowers Pro that serve as career makers and breakers. Last year, Miguel Pupo led a new breed of high-octane Brazilians into the spotlight at the Nike Lowers Pro. He went on to join the growing list of all-stars who use Trestles as a springboard straight to the big leagues.
It is really the place where you can just pretty much strut your stuff, no matter what it is. The air game, the bottom turn, the rail work, it's got it all.
It's such a rippable wave because it's got enough power to push you, but it's also playful enough to where you can just kind of manhandle the wave at the same time.
He's in the barrel, he's coming out!
And that's what I think makes it fun for people to come and watch progressive surfing, is that it allows surfers to do so many different things.
When the world returns to Trestles this May, a bigger variety of approaches will be unleashed than ever before. As the best of surfing's past, present, and future carve on Lowers' liquid green walls, Surfing Stadium of high performance.